Hello and welcome everyone to another Make This session on iPad Calligraphy. I hope you're enjoying these new guest sessions, not only for the amazing things that we're learning and the inspiration, but we also get to meet the people behind some of the best Procreate packs out there. And today is no exception. With us is Kris Lauren from Pretty Little Lines. Hey Kris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
How are you going?
It's so good. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You're such a talented artist and you specialize in both adorable girly graphics and soft, elegant botanicals. I read somewhere, I think it was your About page on your website, that you have 3 boys and a husband, and that was your reason for the feminine work.
I need to break out of this whole blue zone. As you can see, I was saying earlier, this is the only pink room in the house. Hopefully, so I can just do my own thing and have my girly time.
I can totally relate. I've got a little boy as well, so
yeah, you know what I mean.
Yep. So shortly we're going to be watching you demo your fantastic flower tools brush box for Procreate. And the grid brushes included are so helpful for sketching the different perspectives of flowers and building out compositions. Can you tell us a little bit about the evolution of how that part of the pack came about?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've been drawing flowers for a long time, but I know that it can be really hard if you're not working from reference photos, especially to know exactly how to make that perspective happen, and especially when you're working with all the types of flowers that have different centers and things like that to it. It really changes the shape. So these we tried to make these. I actually worked along with Matt at Design Cuts to develop these, and they work amazingly well, whether you're using from just your own imagination or from reference photos, just to really understand that shape and construction of flowers and from different perspectives. Also, it helps with when you're trying to figure out compositions, when you're trying to put flowers together and stuff like that. So you can really use them really quite versatilely. So
yeah, because I saw in one of the example images as well that it had different angles of the faces, and that just brings so much more realism and life to the piece. So that's just so cool and helpful. Yeah. And I loved watching you. I think there was one where you were nesting the saucer grid inside of each other and building out a succulent. I thought that was so clever. So really cool. I know you prepared a freebie for the guys at home. Can you tell us what's inside?
I have 3 of the grid builder brushes so that you guys can have a test and see what we're talking about and use those and see what you think.
Oh, that's awesome. So they can give that a try. Okay, guys, so there's a link to the freebie pack and the full pack below. So well done, Kris. It's an amazing, well thought out pack. We won't keep the good people from it any longer, and we'll go to the demo now. But I just want to thank you again for taking your time to say hi and show us your beautiful work.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. Hope you enjoy it, guys.
Thank you. All right, cool.
So I'm just going to go into my brushes and find my flower grid builder. It'll be PLL for Pretty Little Lines Flower Grid Builder. And you can see here you have cup and bell, shape, saucer, and trumpet. So those are sort of the 4 main flower shapes that a lot of flowers come in, and they're all in convex or concave and all at various degrees, just rotating. So today I'm going to use the cup convex -15. So I'm going to have it at about 100%. And I'm just going to tap on my layer here, and I'm going to just rotate it using my arrow into the direction that I want. I kind of want it like that. Just going to zoom out here a little bit. About like that. Maybe we don't need quite so much of an angle. So there we go. Okay, so you can see I have a lot of sort of blotches and stuff like that. That's because of the canvas. So I have a bunch of extra paint effects that I'm going to turn off. You can see that changes it. I'm actually going to turn off the canvas altogether just while we're sketching, so you can see this maybe a little bit more clearly. All right, so then I'm going to add a new layer. Actually, this is a fairly simple flower as far as the grid building is going, because we're just going to use one, and that's just to understand the tilt forward. So I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm just going to take, by clicking the N, I'm just going to take this opacity down a little bit, maybe to about 25%, whatever you're comfortable with. Back into the brushes and grab those flower tools. And here you'll see, I believe there's 12 sketch and ink brushes, 12 watercolor brushes, or maybe there's 15, and 12 splatter and splotch sort of stamp brushes. So I think that's a pretty good collection for you to be able to do anything you need. I'm just going to use my favorite sketch, of course, just for our first sketch. And I have it at about, let's say 50%. Not super important for our sketch, but that's all right. Okay, so I'm going to just decide where things are going. So I'm going to use this circle here. Oops. This circle here as the center point of where our stem is going to come out of. So it's just going to be, I'm just going to have a little curve. Use that as sort of the guide to where our stem is. Okay, so that's good, and that's going to have a rounded edge. All right, so now we know where that is. So we know that some sort of petals, or the petals are going to come from here, from this base, and they're just going to all overlap. This is I guess sort of more of a wild rose kind of look. So I'm just going to have these petals following these lines, just using them as general guides. You don't have to have them exactly on the line, of course, just understand the direction. From there, maybe that will be curving around a bit. Again, this is just our sketch. We'll be painting, we'll be using it anyway. Have some layers there. Okay, maybe this one will go here. This one will be, maybe it'll fold over a little bit here, like so. Again, just using this guide to help me know where I am. All right. Maybe there'll be a little bit one on here. Okay. And then I'm just going to have a few petals. Or sorry, a few leaves, coming around here, a little nugget there. And this stem is going to have some sort of petals coming off here, just erasing what I had there so I can see that type of thing. Actually, maybe I'll make those a little bit bigger. That seems a little bit small. It'll just be like a little bit nubbly. And let's have some leaves that are kind of coming here. Something like that. And we'll have a little leaf up there. Okay, just rough. Okay, so we can turn our guide there off, and we can see that it looks like it's tilting away from us. I'm just going to erase this in here so you know what's going on. It's a little bit clearer. Great. Okay, so our sketch is ready, and that's really all we need for this. We don't need anything too fancy because we're going to be painting over. All right, so let's take this, click on that N, and turn the opacity down a little bit to maybe about 15%, just so you can still see it. All right, then I'm going to create a new layer, and every petal that I make is going to be on a new layer, and that's so that we get a kind of interesting layered effect, as well as we're going to be able to do some cool clipping mask stuff over top. So I'm going to go and find my, where is it? My rough edge, my watercolor rough edge. I'm going to start with the petal in front, just using this peach color. We might change the colors as we go, but I'm just going to start with this, holding my brush in the entire time. I have it at about 5%, and you can keep these little white marks here if you'd like. Sometimes that gives it a nice watercolor effect. Back into the layers, add a new layer, and bring it below. So I want this one, the one that's most forefront, at the top of the layer pile. Then we're just going to go color this in and completing that all the way around. So just make up where that line would be, even though normally we wouldn't see it. But again, we want this layer kind of effect. Bring the layer below. Oops, hit a group. Bring it below. And just fill that all in. And then I'm just going to color in these little ones by themselves, just where it's overlapping. I missed one over there too. And one more just for this little guy at the top here. All right. So now we have lots of layers. So let's go back to our first layer here. Click on that, and we're going to add a clipping mask just by tapping on it and saying clipping mask. So then let's go and get something a little darker, maybe something a little warmer. Might adjust this palette. And I'm going to say, let's just start with our soft bloom here and just rub on the edges just a touch. I'm just going to bring my brush up to about 20%. I'm just going to rub the edges a little bit, if you can see this. And that just gives it that dried paint look. And you can just be really soft about it. Just, again, it's very pressure sensitive. So just kind of have a play with it. It's going to be really soft first, and then we'll build up as we go. I'm just putting some lines in just to maybe kind of have that petally look. Looks good. Maybe I'll adjust the color a little bit, a little deeper. Maybe you get these watercolor wet edges. Let's see what happens there. That's kind of neat. Maybe I'll bring the opacity, just play with that a little bit. Just dabbing that on a touch. Nice. Okay. On to the next petal. Same thing, plus sign, make it a clipping mask. Let's just go back to that peach color we had before, back to the soft bloom, and find out where this is. So just same thing, just kind of rub those edges. More in some places, less in others. And do it all the way through again so we kind of have this cool translucent look. Kind of add a few lines through, just make it look like that. That's kind of neat. Next, we can go and do that darker color too. Grab this watercolor wet edge. We can try the soft edge too. Just play around. There's no major rules here. Maybe that's a little bit too aggressive for this so far. We're going a little bit softer at the beginning. Let's turn the opacity down. Okay, that's probably good. Great. Next petal, plus sign, clipping mask. We'll be on repeat doing this for a little bit, so you'll get the hang of it real quick. Should probably find out where this is. There it is, over here. Okay. Just kind of playing with it back to this deeper color. Let's do the wet edges again. We just kind of alternate with that. Just give it more of a painted look. Oh, We haven't even turned our canvas on. Hang on one second. All right, we go to our canvas and turn on some watercolor paper so it actually looks like watercolor. But you can see already without the canvas, they already do look like paint. It just gives it that extra bit of texture with the canvas. So, and we can make this some more cool canvas effects in a little bit too, in a little later. Okay, so back to this petal over here. Plus sign, clipping mask, back to the bloom. Really good. You can just play with your size a little bit. Good. Next petal, clipping mask, back to the lighter orange, back to the soft bloom, if we can get it. Check what one this is. Okay, good. I'm always making it a little bit more darker at the base. It's probably good for that one. Next petal, over here, clipping mask. This one I'm going to bring in the wet edge soft, maybe like that. Clipping mask. Oh, just this little nugget at the side here. Maybe we'll stay with that color, see what happens. Soft bloom. That's nice. Just get that little edge there. No problem. All right, on to this guy. Another clipping mask. We are on repeat. Let's bring some more of those lines in again. Okay. Here we go. We are almost there. Clipping mask, same thing. Oops, which one are we on? There we go. Okay. Cool. There we are on the back. There. I love this layered look. I think it looks really neat and relatively easy to attain too. So that's nice. Okay, these little bits. Good. Maybe that'll be darker in there, you know, to give that depth. Maybe I'll bring in this little pop too. Great. And the last one. Go back to this color here. Nice. Okay, guys, a lot of layers, but I think that looks great. So it's relatively simple to do to create that really watercolory look. So let's just add a few more touches, maybe really amplify some things. Let's go back to our original one at the very top. Let's go really quite a bit darker. I think I'm going to go and create, let's see if I create a new layer. I'm not going to do this everywhere. There's probably have too many layers, but let's just see. Maybe I'll bring in the wet edges again and change this to, let's see if it's color burn. Let's change this layer to color burn. Just gonna get a few more. It might be a little bit too bold. Let's see. Just a few pops. How about this guy behind here? We'll do the same thing too. Clipping mask, another one on top of that. And we're going to change it to color burn. Okay. And maybe this guy. All right. And this might be the last one. Clipping mask, color burn. Okay. Just kind of getting a few different things there. Might want to turn those opacity down on some of those. Might just be a little touch aggressive. Let's see. Okay. Cool. So now we can go and make some splotches and whatnot. We'll probably need to consolidate some of these layers, I would imagine. So we can just pinch those together, these guys together, leaving out those new color burn ones. All right, let's go and do our petals and whatnot. So I'm just going to get sort of a dark browny burgundy color. I guess that actually what we had might work for now. I'm going to continue on with my rough edge, my watercolor rough edge. And let's see, maybe I'll be on the layer below. I'm just going to hit on that group that I accidentally made. And let's just have that. And I have my brush, and I'm at about 6%. Okay, so I'm going to just, maybe I need a little bit smaller, maybe about 4%. I'm going to bring these in here. Going to leave some little white marks here and there, sort of in the center. Great. Oops. Try it again. Sort of leaving that white where the line kind of would be center of that. I'm actually going to add one here. I had one here before my original sketch. It's kind of a funny one. Never mind. Try again. Okay. All right, I'm going to just turn off my sketch layer now so I can kind of see. Then I'm going to go and grab my little favorite sketch. It's great for little details and stuff. So I'm just going to bring the line work in here just really lightly for these little bits. And I can do a little bit of detail, but it depends how much I want. I don't want too much, just a little bit here. Just kind of connecting those. Okay, So let's have a little work on those. You guessed it, clipping mask. Uh-oh, ran out of layers. I'm just going to delete my, my original flower grid here because we won't need that anymore. So just going to tap on this, say clipping mask, and I'm going to bring it a little bit darker. And I think I'm going to just stick with the brushes I have been using. So I'm going to use that soft bloom. Really get in there and make that darker there. Basically where it meets the flower. Really push that. Might need this a little bit warmer. Might bring about some red in here. Let's see. Just dotting some through there, warming it up. Some areas. And then I'm going to go and, actually, you know what? I'm going to do the splatter stuff in a bit. I want to show you how to use some blobs and stuff like that. Actually, just going to merge some of these layers together just by pinching them. Just so I can get a few more layers here. All right, and I'm going to go to our original petal, hit that plus sign. I'm going to be on that peachy color, and then go in and grab, maybe, let's try this one, splotch 3, tap that, you can see it comes up there and it'll just stay contained to this. Maybe you want it like that. Click on the N and let's just play a little bit with the different modes. Maybe multiply would be nice. And I'm just going to bring back that opacity. Maybe I want it more like that. That's nice. Again, I'm going to merge it just because I'm running out of space here. Oops. There we go. Just try to get the one. Gonna go here, merge these guys. And let's see, maybe this petal here. Just kind of want to do it where I can see it. Grab a different splotch, maybe blob 1. You just want to make sure they're on separate layers so that you can move them and whatnot. It's the important part. Okay, again, let's set that to multiply. Bring the opacity down just so it's not too bold. Unless that's what you want, by all means, go for it. But for this one, it's fairly soft. I'm just trying to find this one in the back here. Where did he go? There he is. Okay, hit the plus sign, clipping mask. Let's go grab something different. Blob 2. There he is. Just move him around so you get what we want here. Maybe like that. Set to multiply and bring that opacity down a little bit. So you can keep going with that as long as you like, but that's sort of a good overview of how to use blobs and stuff. Okay, so I think it's looking pretty nice. If we want to change and do some extra stuff, what I would do, if you want to have a little bit of a play at this point, you don't have to, but I would often go back to my gallery, duplicate this by sliding to the left. And so I always have my layers and ready to go on that, but this one I can come and just select everything, all this stuff. I might just do the petals and the leaves still separately. And let's see, I'm just going to group it and flatten it just so that's all on one layer. Going to merge these two together. Okay, so I just have my leaves and my flowers up here. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to hit the plus sign, clipping mask. And again, you can do this on every individual petal, but for time's sake, I'm just going to do this on one. I'm going to go to the white. I'm going to grab my scatter splatter and just give it a little that, and I can just pick different ones, Depends what you want to do, what kind of look you want to have, you know. I can make this darker, kind of add that look. Just you kind of can experiment, and that's kind of fun just to make those little painty kind of looks. Same with on here. I'm going to just add the plus sign, clipping mask, maybe some of these ones, maybe some darker ones. You know, I can do blobs on here too, but it's the same principle. I'm pretty sure you've got it. All right, I think that's it for today. So if you are interested in finding out more about these brushes, there is a link in the description below. It'll show you all about it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.